What is happening? Welcome to another episode of The Craft. My name is Nick Pollack, and joining me back to the show, it's been a little bit of a hiatus. Actually, this time we have a special guest here. It's Eno Sarris. Oh,
Not
Eno.
as special as last week's
Okay,
guest.
okay.
Jeez.
There is no comparison here. That is not a thing we do. That was an absolute honor. If you haven't listened to the
What a
interview with
great
David
show.
Cohn, it was a super fun time. Definitely watch the YouTube video. We have stories, we have all this stuff. But come on. There's like the fun, but then there's you come home, and you sit down on your couch and you're just like, there's something about that. And you look great.
God,
You look
man.
like you have a tan.
I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to be home. It is the hardest thing about traveling is just trying to do all the things you normally do while traveling,
Yeah.
while not being at home, not having your 4-screen setup and like trying
You
to
have
do
4?
podcasts. Yeah. And
I'm a
then
2 man.
the annoying thing too is to trying to find a place to do rates and barrels every day. And so
Mhm.
I was sneaking into suites at stadiums. I was in radio booths hoping that the radio team wouldn't show up
Oh
at
my
the end
God.
of my podcast. And that's part of why I had to beg out of the craft last week, is just because I had just enough of a window. If you go to a stadium super early, you can maybe do a podcast before it starts getting loud. But a
Mhm.
couple of our podcasts at the very end, we had one where John Fogerty just blew us up at the end. We were it was like right around the time where they open up the stadium and let everybody in. And it was, put me in, coach. And it's like,
Proud Mary
no.
starts going. It's like, oh, I guess I'm getting drafted. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like it's time to stop potting.
Oh
I
gosh.
guess.
Well, I
So
mean, I was
that
very
was
lucky to talk to David Cohn, and
that's so
that's kind of
great
something we want to do on the craft a little bit. Is just this is an opportunity for us to talk to a lot of people from the industry. We've already, of course, talked to Lance Brzezowski as well. But the craft of pitching has a lot of different perspectives, and we're certainly going to be doing that throughout the what is the word? The life of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But today we've got the season starting, I guess, for 2 games. I never really count them in my head.
Yeah.
And we've got the season really officially starting in a week. I will be live streaming the entire day on playback.tv. Hopefully I can steal Eno Sarris because we are live streaming the actual games on playback this year, like the video.
I might
And
be able to do a little of that. I will be at Rare Bear Bottle with doing a live event in San
oh,
Francisco.
nice.
But during the first games,
Yeah.
we'll just be watching. So if I can
You know
manage it
what's
off
crazy?
my phone or whatever.
It starts at 3. It doesn't start at 1.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that is.
What? I mean, sure, I get 2 hours back of my day, I guess, but I'm streaming from 3 p.m. to
Maybe it's a
midnight or
ratings
1
play or
a.m.
something.
Like I'm just doing it. So I join me. Really, it's if you have MLB.tv, stop watching the game alone. Come by. It's gonna be the Pitcher List community. It's gonna be all these people from the industry. And every single time there's baseball on the entire season, we will have it live streamed on playback.tv/pitcherlist. It's 100% legal and everything. It's just you got to have your MLB.tv subscription. So looking forward to that. I'll grab whenever you're done watching or doing the live stream. I'll be there still. If there's a game on, I'll be there. Looking forward to that. And as we get close to the opening day, we got to have some bold predictions. 2025 is ahead of us, and we've been going, oh, this guy, that guy, whatever. But now it's to have fun, okay? And I want to hear one of those bold predictions from you.
I'm glad we didn't do this a couple weeks ago because it would have been Grayson Rodriguez wins the Cy Young. So that's in my rearview mirror. Hey, you know what? Screw it. I'll just go with the same team. Cade Povich is the best pitcher on the Orioles.
Okay.
Okay,
you were like,
I couldn't go all the way to Cy Young.
like Cy Young.
Yeah, no.
What about
one
AL
thing about
East?
the Cy Young too
Yeah.
is that it's like a little bit like the Oscars. You kind of have to have a really good season before you can win the Cy Young.
Oh,
It's
sure.
Like it's
Yeah.
really rare. Like we'll look back on like Skeens this season and be like, should he have maybe won the Cy Young? But he'll win the Cy Young, this year or next year. Anyway, Cade Povich. The reason I like Cade Povich is when he first came up, I was like, the stuff isn't there. Now, he hasn't changed that too much. The stuff is up a little bit.
Hmm.
But what I've begun to appreciate is the other stuff he does do well,
Mm.
which is have a wide arsenal with command. And I'd hate to be slave to whatever the newest narrative is, but something about pitching is chasing narrative, because there are things that work in pitching and there are things that stop working in pitching. And to some
Right.
extent, and one of my negative bold predictions today will be about this factor, to some extent, I think we're finding that hitters can train for small arsenal pitchers a little bit better, because they can
Yep.
keyhole them in certain counts. They can say, oh, if it's high, it's hard, it's the four seam, I can put the four seam swing on it. If it's low, I got to get scoopy, it's the slider, you know? So I think it's harder than ever to be a two pitch guy. Even Steven Strider's out here throwing changeups in his first start back, throwing curveballs in his first start back. I think this is more the era of the advanced wide arsenal, and Povich has that for me.
Well, I mean, that's why it's the year of the cutter, right? Because everyone's got to add that one too. No,
Mm-hmm.
I remember actually the very first time I saw you at First Pitch Arizona, you gave a whole presentation about stuff and just generally what is effective with arsenals, and adding a mediocre to bad third pitch makes the other stuff better.
Yep.
And it's worthwhile. There's like the sacrificial lamb, it's all right, there's a trap ahead. Let's throw the turtle. And then all of a sudden we go in, that's what the third pitch is. I'm really sorry, turtle. I don't know why I'm being so violent,
Throwing onto the bus.
but,
Yeah.
but right. It's that little small dip for a big gain. Right. And that makes all the sense. The problem we've seen in the past is these guys throwing a lot of pitches and then not being able to throw them for strikes, or not being able to really gain themselves beat on their worst pitches, and about finding the time to throw that kitchen sink and actually be effective with them. I've certainly seen guys overthrow things. I'm just like, guys, come on. This is your best pitch. Please stop throwing this 15% of the time. Now you're not even giving yourself an opportunity. And we really did see a lot of guys actually, though, expand that arsenal. I mean, the reason that Chris Bassett can be a thing is because of that expanded arsenal, right? So,
Seth Lugo, you know?
yeah, Seth Lugo,
And
absolutely.
last year, Cade Povich, if you look by stuff, you're like, well, this is really mediocre. But you look a little bit under the hood because it's 97 stuff plus overall. That's not great. But it's 98 on the fastball, 99 on the sinker, 99 on the cutter, 110 on the slider, 97 on the curve. I mean, that's 4 pitches right there that are right at average. And then you look at
Sure.
location plus numbers, and it's the same thing where he can locate at least at an average rate. And what I'm saying is, in sort of his second year, I think he's going to take a little step forward on that locating. We saw some minor league walk rates that were close to 5%. Now,
Mm,
yes, as he went up in the minors, he did see some higher walk rates. But I think that the true talent command here is above average. And if you've got above average command with a
yeah,
large arsenal, you can have a poppy year. And he had a great spring, and he had a 111 stuff plus in the spring. So I think that there's a lot of arrows pointing in the right direction here.
definitely. I mean, to me, it's okay. Is he going to beat Zach Eflin? Could absolutely do that. Just because of health for Eflin, the very minimal. And
And
then
Dickerson is
Dean
hurt
Kramer,
right now.
right?
He's a
Dean
better
Kramer,
version of Dean
Morden.
Kramer.
Yeah. So I definitely can see how this one can play out. I'm also curious if maybe Albert Suarez does get the opportunity first in that
It would
fifth
hurt my
spot.
chances, but I mean, we're
But
talking about, when we say better, I guess we're saying like, RA9 War or something that
sure.
involves quantity, as well as quality. I wouldn't want him to come up for 20 innings and have a 2
But he's
ERA
the
and be
best
like,
one.
yeah, I won that one.
Nice. No, and the other question I have is Cade Povich or Casey Mize?
Casey Mize is looking good, but one thing that Cade Povich I think can do that I don't know Casey Mize can do is spin it.
Mm,
And I've talked to a few players about this now. Tobias Myers apparently. I talked to him and had a great long conversation about him about like all the things that people do differently in Cleveland and Tampa and Milwaukee. And he said
mm,
Milwaukee and Tampa are more similar. Cleveland was more aggressive about wanting him to put pitches in certain places, where he said Tampa and Milwaukee would like rip it. And the other thing that he said was, I'm a pronator. And you can see it if you look at the numbers. Stuff Plus says his four seam and his changeup. And by the way, I told him you would never guess what pitch your best pitch is by Stuff Plus. And he goes, changeup. And I'm like, oh, well, you guessed it.
I've been saying that
And
thing is
so,
amazing. You just can't locate that first strike yet.
and that's
Oh,
why I asked him, why don't you throw it more? And he said, it's a straight change, and I can't rip it the same way I can rip my other
yeah,
pitches.
yeah.
He said he thinks the way out to wait to the next level for him is to throw the slider harder, which is the same thing you hear from Mize. So Mize and Myers actually have something in common.
Interesting.
Myers just has a slight better command, I think,
Yeah, no, I
and
agree with that. He also has, at least he has more offerings that he can throw the
right,
strike.
and that's
Yeah.
why Mize has come to camp with 3 sliders now.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy.
3 sliders or 0 sliders.
Yeah. What's the difference, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I really hope that one's right with Cade Povich. I haven't been as impressed with just kind of like, is he more than a Toby?
I'm not sure
For
either,
me. Right. But I can
but these
see
kind of pitchers can pop that give you a good
well, that's the
season.
thing is that I think there's a it's kind of interesting to me. When I say a guy's a Toby, it's more that like, yeah, I don't really think there is a ceiling for him to achieve like 8 strikeouts in 6 innings a game or something like that.
Be
Right.
dominant, or like
But
we're not going to bold predict him into a Cy Young. Like I
exactly.
couldn't even do that. I
But
couldn't go there.
it can be like a 310 ERA and a 115 whip out of nowhere.
In a great
Right.
year,
Like
yeah.
that can happen if you're a Toby. So absolutely, I see how that can go. And I hope so, just for Alex Fast's sake. I mean, I don't know where he's is right now. I don't
They
think
also
anybody does. He's
need a
kind of
good
scary.
pitcher.
I love that one. In the same vein of this is the best pitcher on a team, I'm going to go with one you don't like. You're not going to like this one.
I
I'm
got
going
one
to
for
say,
you that you won't like later. So, huh.
okay, all right. I'm going to say that Mitch Spence is the best pitcher on the Athletics.
Why would you
And
say I don't like that?
because
I like
the one you've been
Osvaldo
getting in
Bido.
every single league. You guys don't
I
know
have a
this.
fair
Before
amount of
the
Mitch
podcast
Spence.
happened, he doesn't even have a bold prediction on him. Eno was like, I just checked my percentage rostered, and I have 100% Osvaldo Bido. I was like, how many leagues are you in? He's in 10. What? I mean, because he's so cheap. I get it. Do you think he's making it out of camp, though?
Huh?
Do you think he's making it on the in the rotation? Because he's been back and forth with Joey Estes there too, and Spence really for 2 spots. Those 3 guys.
I do think he's going to make it.
Good.
I think he's a better pitcher than Joey Estes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting. Both sides of the coin. Joey Estes can put pitches where he wants, but there's like no good stuff to it. Well,
yeah,
he's got great stuff, and it's just like, well, this is going to be 55% strike rate fastball. I'm like, oh gosh, okay. Yeah. But I hope so for his case sake. But the thing is, Mitch Spence is kind of a combination of those two for me. And with Spence, with PLV, Spence's cutter and slider are like both above 90th percentile. And he's kind of like a discount Drew Rasmussen of just that cutter slider approach. Has a sinker that sometimes is good, sometimes isn't. But what's been cool is seeing his velocity go up on that cutter to 92 plus.
His velo is up, yeah.
Right. And he did drop for 1 and they came back. I know he just got blown up the other day. Makes me a little concerned that the Athletics might go with Estes instead. I hope not. But I think that potential is, that can be really fun. This could be a 5 to 6 inning guy consistently with, just kind of the Rasmussen of really hard to hit, hopefully stretching out a little bit more of it to get more strikeouts. And then he's someone that you blink and it's like a 107 whip for the year. And you go, what? How did that happen, Mitch Spence?
Here's a fun little tidbit on him. Mitch Spence's, I have platoon splits and stuff less.
Mm-hmm.
His stuff plus is higher against lefties than righties. Which there used to be this thing called the John Danks theory, where it's you take, John Danks' best pitch was his changeup, and so the Rays would actually play lefties against John Danks, who was a lefty. They'd stack the lineup with lefties because he couldn't get them out because he didn't have a good breaking ball. And it was called Danks theory. And so, pitchers can have platoon splits that become meaningful faster than hitters even, because you're like, you don't have a changeup, or you do, you know what I mean? But the thing about Spence is that I don't think anybody is going to see him and like want to stack the lineup with righties. Like I don't think anybody's like gonna think that hard about a Mitch Spence start. So
Yeah,
him having higher stuff plus against lefties, I think will just be good for him. Like they'll
sure.
still put lefties in the lineup against Spence and be like, I know how to get lefties out. I've been doing
Yeah.
it.
And the reason for that obviously is that it's a cutter and he's able to throw that
Yeah.
arm side or sorry, glove side against lefties, jams them really effectively. Against right-handers, that cutter isn't it's going away. And generally going away from a bat means you can still make more contact and better contact. Especially if you're late, it kind of still kind of sticks around as opposed to getting the handle. It's not going
Sinker's
towards
not
the barrel.
quite as good as the cutter.
Yeah. He doesn't really get that inside as much. And you would think, oh, but the slider, it's like, yeah. And also as the predominant fastball being the cutter, that's an easier one to hit as a righty than a lefty. So that's why I think you're seeing that, and it makes sense. And also, yeah, they might not do anything about it. It might hurt themselves putting lefties in there. So that's my bold prediction. I almost went with Grant Holmes as the best pitcher in Atlanta, but that's a little bit more injury focused. And I was like, it's fine. I'll just do Spence and rain on the Badeau parade just a little bit. It's just kind of fun. Who would you say is your bold prediction that would upset me?
It's my bust.
Oh no.
Shota Imanaga is going to be a bust this year.
Oh, that's fine. I get that. I totally see that.
They have over at BP, they came out with these Arsenal metrics that are about sort of the width and the breadth of your arsenal. How much space do your pitches cover in terms of different movements, and how surprising can you be in any count? And Imanaga is in the 10th percentile.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because he is a two-pitch guy. I just finished talking about, why I think this is going to happen, really. But I just think that people are going to have a little bit more. What?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. First of all, someone on YouTube is watching right now and then just linked to me on Twitter to say, like, hey, just so you know, pitcher list. They just announced the Athletic starting pitchers to open the season with Estes over Mitch Spence.
And Bito's not in either.
No, he is. He's in. Don't worry. You're fine. I'm not. Literally just happened.
That is hilarious. You know that while you were talking, I was like, oh God, Vito's not going to make this. And I'm going to make such an idiot.
God.
At least that's you don't have Mitch Spence on every team.
It can't be bold if it's not a 10% chance of happening.
You can't. At least you don't have Mitch Spence on 10 teams, dude.
Oh, oh my God.
When you asked that, I was like, oh my God, he might not make the rotation.
I'm so sorry. I just made your heart stop for a second. I really appreciate you, Jonathan, for tagging me on Twitter.
Oh
that is so funny.
Is so hilarious. Well, also like, I would not make that choice. I think it's a bad choice. I think Joey Estes is only about command and doesn't really have enough stuff. And Mitch Spence would be in my rotation. So that's why I was like sort of surprised, even with the Badeau. I was like, do they have better pitchers? Badeau and Spence are their best pitchers. Who am I missing? I mean, Sears is like in by.
Oh yeah, and Severino and Springs. Right?
Yeah, because they're paying him. But Springs, I think, looks toast.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm not. I found myself being like, oh gosh, this isn't the guy. One thing I do want to
start, and like they were just rocking him.
Yeah, I do classify some teams as those teams that don't go for it, and they're more about like how do we fill in innings. That's all we care about. And Estes is a guy that can like, all right, fine, you can throw innings. That's true. And like the Nationals are like this, the Marlins are like this.
Pirates we're just gonna put Trevor Williams in there. We're not gonna not gonna depend on Kay Cavalli. Maybe Kay Cavalli can come take Trevor Williams' job, but at least I think they'd also do this out of spring a little bit. Go with the veteran that they're like, yeah, we got this guy, and if the other guy just keeps shoving in AAA and this guy stinks, like we'll just move on.
Right, and like with the Yankees, for example, it's weird to see them doing that with Carlos Carrasco, but we've talked about this before. That makes sense because of the NRI and they have no depth. And it's like, well, yeah, they don't want to lose Carrasco.
I predicted that, and that's so weird.
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, we predicted this. Yeah,
it's so strange.
Yeah,
well,
it makes sense because there's no one after Will Warren. So either you lose Carrasco some depth, or you get some of it now and then get Will Warren later, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's still up in the in the air with Clark Schmidt about even making
Oh yeah,
opening
there's
day.
even
So
that.
we
Oh my
may
gosh.
see we see Warren and Carrasco in the if you see Warren and Carrasco in the rotation, it's not good.
Man, imagine the Yankees didn't sign Max Fried. Oh
Cam
my gosh.
Schlittler would be in the
But
rotation right now.
yeah, they'll be calling me up tomorrow.
Yeah.
But no, I wanted you to continue what you were saying about Shota
Well,
Imanaga. I
just with
apologize.
Shota, I feel like they're gonna
interrupted that.
they're a unique shape on a pitch is great, and we love that. But I
Yeah.
do think the more that people see it, the more it like becomes less unique to them. So the more the hitters see that fastball, it's going to become less unique to them, and they're going to be able to hit it better. And then I'm not suggesting that they're going to just immediately start hitting the splitter, but they'll just hit the fastball harder. We'll see more of a home run problem, I think. I always thought that he'd come over with a home run problem. There were a little bit more home runs in the second half last year, So I kind of just think that just a few more home runs and it'll be more of an ERA that starts with a 4. And, that's not what people are paying for right now in drafts. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, I haven't actually gotten Imanaga in a draft yet.
really?
Well, it's because, I mean, it's Joe Ryan or Max Fried or Justin Steele. It's one of those three that is the one that I get like in the 7th, 8th round.
And that's where he goes. And my comp for Imanaga coming over was Joe Ryan.
Right.
But
yeah.
I think at this point, I'd rather have the Joe Ryan.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, what scared me was Joe Ryan throwing like 3 miles per hour down the other day. But then there was David Brown, a new pitcherless staffer, baseball writer of America, writer and a journalist, had a connect saying, no. Betsy noted that Joe Ryan was talking about this, saying, yeah, it's an hour and a half away from our facilities. And as I was driving, I said to myself, every 30 minutes away, I'm going to go one tick down. And he was just relaxed. He was just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to take it easy. Because it would take so long for him to do the rehab of it. And he's like, I'm not going to.
Okay. All right,
which is hilarious. And like, actually I had someone on stream that was saying, yeah, I was at the game. He looked totally just not full effort at all.
all right.
Which is pretty cool. I'm digging that. Hoping that Bailey Ober did the same thing. Because he was like 89 and change yesterday, which is like, oh gosh.
This is actually why there's not a huge correlation between spring training velos and regular season velos. And, I think it still makes sense for us to report these numbers and to think about them, because there are times when guys are hurt. And the first time we heard about it was when they were down a bunch.
Right.
And velo is associated with performance and it's associated with stuff. But there's also, this is why it gets tough. Like Tyler Malley was 92.8 in his last start, and apparently, his stance the whole time was, yeah, it's coming. It's a little early to throw as hard as I can, So
I mean, well, he also had the report of the forum stuff, and we're just like, okay, we're.
That's why I was like, he's on my do not draft list, and
right? Exactly.
He's inching off of it, I guess, because they also with Cody Bradford and stuff, they need him. So, yeah. Anyway, with Imanaga, like I just, I'm fine with it, but I think it'll be a bit of a bust. I have 0.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's a 4-seamer splitter sweeper, right? And the 4-seamer surprisingly did not have a 10% swing strike rate to righties or lefties last season. The thing is, though, he gets a lot of pop-ups, and Wrigley does help him suppress those home runs. Even if you want to take out the 6-start run,
lefties, it suppresses righty home runs like almost more than any other part. It's like we're the bottom 5 or something.
So it's what's really weird though is that he had that amazing like 1 earned run in like 6 games or something, and he was still actually very productive after that, like a 3-4 ERA essentially. So it's not it wasn't just completely front load as I thought it was. It was really 2 starts of like 9 earned runs and 10 earned runs that ruined his entire season. Everything else was phenomenal. And the sweeper was better than I expected from Imanaga against lefties.
For strikes sometimes too, right?
Yeah, he can actually be. It's a higher strike rate with a splitter than you'd think.
Yeah.
So
you're wrong. That's why it's bold. I mean, we had such a good season last year.
That was me saying like I see how it works, and then I also can see that. Well, let's say that 4-seamer, that velocity still comes a little bit down. Maybe the vert gets a little bit lower, and then those pop-ups, more of those go out of the park. Maybe that splitter, as you're mentioning, with a high strike rate last year, maybe it isn't as high of a strike rate. Now against righties, there isn't a good backup plan That was always my biggest worry with Imanaga. It's like, what happens when the splitter isn't there? And we sometimes saw that sweeper show up and help.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I absolutely understand that one. And yeah, I haven't drafted him yet. So I get that. We're going to talk about some legitimately like, what is wrong with you? Bowl predictions after this break. All right, Eno. You ready for? I mean, actually, we already somewhat hinted on this. Okay. I think,
Is this your bat poop one?
This is actually different. This is a different one. This is why is that the choice of words you chose to say? Okay.
This is the crazy one. I don't know.
This is the crazy one.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, this is. I thought you were saying like someone was going to be bad. No, this is my bust one. This is my absolutely. Come on, Nick. I think that all 5 of the Tampa Bay Rays starting pitchers outperform all of the New York Yankees rotation.
So like each one of them outperforms the whole 5, or no?
Yeah.
They just all 5 are better than any single Yankees.
Correct.
Pitcher. Okay.
Yes, the second one, all 5 of them, and then the Yankee pitcher. So Shane McClanahan, Ryan Pepio, Shane Baz, Taj Bradley, and whoever the 5 is, Rasmussen or Boyle, whatever you want to do. The one who gets the most innings, I guess.
That's
which I know is absolutely ridiculous. And come on, Nick, there's no way. Except there is a way. Because Clark Schmidt is banged up. And really, if you just look at the Yankee rotation, the only ones that are actually like, okay, hold on a second, is Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. And when you've seen Rodon go through his whatever before, hopefully that changeup is back again.
Play. He's kind of, sometimes it's poor, there's just poor pitching, and sometimes it's injuries. I mean,
right.
That's like a dual risk there.
And with Max Fried, it's please just pitch. Please. Yeah. Please just pitch.
But it's not a risk that he's going to be productive when he's in there. It's just,
right.
There is a slight risk about how much he's in
there.
But
I found this hilarious because it's like, I've heard a lot of people say, okay, cool, I'm just fading all of the Rays because they're going up to Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah.
The limitations maybe of certain guys. And the other side of it is like, this is Shane McClanahan. I mean, I remember last week when I updated my list, I sat there and I had like a moment of just, what am I doing? This is Shane McClanahan.
Yeah.
And he's not like looking as if he's not the old Shane McClanahan. He looks like he's Shane McClanahan.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand 140 innings, 150 is probably what you're going to get. Yes, Steinbrenner Field versus the Trop is a big difference and all of that. It's Shane McClanahan. And I think about this constantly of we're in draft season. We have like the whole rankings, like this guy's better than that one, blah, blah, blah. It's May 1st and it's just all, minds and everything. Everyone is just completely different. And you're just sitting there going, yeah, Shane McClanahan is amazing. What? He's just so good. I don't care if he plays in Steinbrenner Field, and
right.
When it comes to 140, 150 innings, like that's fine. I'll take that all day. If it's of an elite pitcher, like we saw Paul Skeens turn like SP Raider 15 or something like that. We had 130, something ridiculous. Jacob deGrom in his 96 innings was inside the top 50 easily. And obviously McClanahan isn't necessarily going to say like a 2 ERA, but I don't know. It's Shane McClanahan. Ryan Pepio's stuff, as we know, is just insane. No. And hopefully he's able to just make that little adjustment to make his slider and changeup just be more strike pitches, and that's all he needs to do. Taj Bradley improved the command of his cutter last year. And that's the main thing for me is just please don't be chaotic.
That's the riskiest one for me because
absolutely completely.
He gives up homers.
Oh yeah. Good. Oh, I do not want to draft Taj Bradley, but it's not fun if I say 3 Rays pitchers.
Right. Rasmussen is nasty. And
so good.
That's a question of how they use him, I guess. I mean, they might piggyback him with Littell or do something.
Yeah, like it sounds to me like they will initially, but they want him as the starter, as the number 5.
He's really nasty.
And I'm drafting him everywhere. Got him in Tout Wars on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And in the reserve rounds. Oh yes. And he's RP. Oh, he's RP eligible. I can put him in the RP spot in Tout Wars. And then of course you have Shane Baz, and Shane Baz is also kind of a question mark right now. It has had a weird wonky spring of throwing 100 at one point, like hitting 100, And then the others start being like, yeah, I don't know if I really have much today. And walking 4 batters, right? So
He
I
also
want to
strikes
believe that the
me.
curve is there.
There's a
But
little bit of a Jackson Job connection in my head here, where it's like
oh,
Boz and Job have had some of the best minor league stuff plus numbers I've ever seen. Grayson Rodriguez was up there too,
mm-hmm.
and they they haven't made good on them yet.
Yeah,
Even with Job's pretty good spring, it's like a 380 RA with like a 18% strikeout rate. You're like, that
right. What,
that's what
what
the
is
promise of all that was.
now the interesting
Sometimes I
thing about
watch Boz
Job,
on the same thing. I was like, this doesn't seem as crisp as it was in the futures game, or as it
right?
was when I saw him before.
Well, I mean, we know about Boz is that the slider is not what it used to be. Like, you called it the destroyer of worlds, and I always think about that.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore. And he had to adapt to throw a curve, but that curve was really good in the second half of last year. And what we've seen is he still has that reliance on it this year, does Boz. But with Job, like Job is a classic case to me of a guy that has all the tools and it just needs to kind of figure out how to use them right. And he also isn't one of those, I don't know where it's going pitchers in my view. So you have this curveball, which is just an insane 2-plane break. And then you have a cutter at 90 plus that he throws for strikes endlessly. And yes, it's not the greatest extension. It's like 6 feet, which is bad, but it's not the greatest height adjusted VA. It's not the greatest vert. They're both good. But then again, he's throwing like 97 with this. Like, okay, fine, I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
It's really just
Why is he
about, to
missing
me, the
whiffs?
usage
'Cause
of
he
it.
likes the cutter a lot.
Well, he did in his last spring start, and I like that because he hadn't actually turned to it a ton. And really, I would say like you could just get by being cutters and then setting up this heat surprise pitch and then this big curveball. Like you could just be 3 pitch if you wanted to, and he would just have success, I think what happens is that guys key in on heaters at the wrong times, or he leaves the cutter up at times, doesn't have that stupid weapon of the curveball whipped out too often. And he needs to, because that thing is just, there's no way they're hitting that if he can throw it decently around the zone, right? So it's just little things like that. He has a sinker he can put in there. He has a changeup, and he's shown like 6 pitches, Jackson Job. And it all just seems like, yeah, this is going to work. Just let him fail. Let him be a starter and figure it out for a full season, and it will click. It just might not click until like June or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, the other thing that I definitely think about young pitchers is that, the Paul Skeens is the outlier, obviously, but like that it's just hard to become a young starting pitcher and I think that to some extent the way that we develop pitchers has something to do with this. We are stuff machines in the minors, and it's like, also the games don't matter, so it's not, everyone's like working on things. The hitter's trying to get his best EVs, everyone's like trying to hit the numbers on the things. And I think that even these guys with the high stuff numbers, Grayson Rodriguez even had like, the process of coming to big leagues and being like, oh, okay, that didn't work as well as the stuff number said it was. Clark Schmidt said, I learned at one point that my job wasn't to throw the best stuff plus. And I was like,
right.
wow.
I mean, this is what the Dodgers have taught their pitchers too. It's the same idea.
To compete and to get outs or to throw their best stuff plus.
Or no, for stuff plus is like, let's just teach them stuff plus and not.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a Bobby Miller problem too. It's like,
yeah,
he's got to figure out what actually works in terms of sequencing and what he can command to the right places and stuff like that. But
remember him?
I've got a similar one where one pitcher is better than a whole other team.
Oh yeah.
But it's not as bold as yours.
I mean, I tell my staff like their bold predictions, they do 10 of them. They have to be 10%. The goal is to get 1 or maybe 2.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see people do bold predictions, but it's like, yeah, he's a top 5 guy already. You're saying he's the best of 5. Like, all right.
I'm usually like 30%.
Yeah. Don't just aim to be wrong.
Like,
it's just about exposing possibilities.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Last year I got 4 or 5 out of my 10 correct.
Yeah. Then it wasn't bold enough,
That wasn't bold enough. No. Well, I'm going to test this one out on you. Okay. Landon Roop.
Yes, I knew it.
Is better than any St. Louis Cardinals pitcher.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's not even bold.
No, I mean it's Sonny Gray. So he's going to be better than Sonny Gray, Quinn Matthews when he comes up.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I can totally see that. I think actually this is really a Sonny Gray bust.
Yeah, right. It's
And
an
I'm with
undercover
you on
Sonny
that.
Gray.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not having a great spring. He's very much become a one-trick pitcher in that he loves his sweeper so much.
Mm.
And he's 90, 91 in spring. Sonny Gray is, and I'm not sure this is like oh yeah, he'll be 93 by the time the season starts. Like, he's had velo ups and downs in his past, and at this point he's 35, and he has more in common to me with sort of Charlie Morton and Wainwright at the end of his career than he does with like a top pitcher. Then Atlanta Roop is throwing this cutter that's really working for him. I watched 2 starts of his where he just threw cutter over cutter over cutter to lefties. They didn't really do anything with it. And it's a really interesting pitch, the cutter is, because it's a kind of like almost like a gyro slider. It's like a 0-0 type pitch.
Yeah.
And everything else he has is just like, whah.
Right.
So he's a little bit like an Adam Ottavino with like really big sinker sweeper situation. But I think his cutter is better than Ottavino's always tried to have that cutter. But his
he had like 3 different types of
Ottavino's.
sliders is what Ottavino did.
Yeah, and his cutter's a little bit better than Ottavino's was. And also, if Ottavino hadn't come up in Colorado and had come up in San Francisco, he might have gotten a shot to be a starter.
He came up in St. Louis, no?
Oh yeah, he did get
Ottavino.
a shot to be a starter in St. Louis, didn't he?
Yeah, he came up. He debuted against. The only reason I know Ottavino this well is because he went to my high school. So like we watched that debut against the Cubs. It was like 4 innings and 300 runs or something like that.
He got 22. He got 3 starts, 22 innings with them, and then
I think Keith Law gave his draft pick of 31st overall as an F to the Cardinals. Or 30th. I think that's what it was because it was after they won the World Series or something.
I just say, like, in the era of pitch design, maybe not so much organizations. Colorado required him to be a reliever.
Right.
Yeah. But in the era of pitch design, I would say that that he would have a better chance to start.
Yeah.
And Roop is has some commonalities with him, and I think it's like 80% he makes the rotation. I think that this is also a Kyle Harrison bust.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Harrison. Well, the thing is, I think there are 2 guys above Harrison now.
Yeah.
And I would even make the argument that Birdsong should be starting over Jordan Hicks, but I don't know if they're going to do that.
They've said that the plan is for him to be in the rotation, but if you look at his usage so far in the spring for Hicks, he is starting, but it's a little bit unaggressive.
Yeah, so right. It's not like 5 innings ever. It's like 2.2 innings or something, right?
Yeah, his 3 starts of 6.2 innings is not.
No.
Like other people, like Atlanta Roop. Have you seen his usage? Like he's already at 5 innings.
Yeah, right. And Birdsong had 5 in the last one. He's 12
like,
innings for Birdsong.
Yeah, he has twice. Yeah, they have twice as many innings as Hicks. Yeah. So I think they could and it's not like their bullpen is amazing. And in fact, their bullpen could be amazing if it was Hicks. Don't you think? Hicks, Doval, Randy Rodriguez. I don't know if you know who Randy Rodriguez is, but he's nasty.
Yeah.
So if you had Hicks, Doval, Randy Rodriguez, and Ryan Walker, that would maybe that's my bold prediction. Yeah, for my bold predictions article that I'm writing. I need one for a bullpen. Maybe I'll bold predict the Giants into the best bullpen in the big leagues.
There you go. I like that. I dig it. Throwing Kyle Harrison in there. Why not? Long relief.
I think he would probably go to the minors to figure it out, but
are you, by the way, are you in on Birdsong if he is in a rotation?
I am. Yeah. I like him. I always like the secondary stuff. I learned in camp that they're moving him on the they moved him on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
They moved him over to the third base side, and one of the ways that they sold him on the process was they put him in a traject against the hitting machine.
Yeah.
They put him in against himself. And they had himself throw sliders to him from the first base side, and then they had himself throw sliders to him from the third base side, and he was like, "Okay, done. I'm doing it."
Oh my god!
So, but there's also something that can happen mechanically for command. Like Mackenzie Gore told us that he changed his position on the mound and helped his command because of the way your pelvis will tilt, and the way that your landing foot, like you're more cross
Absolutely.
body if you're further away from the middle. So,
Yep.
I think that they're attacking his command from sort of
From
external,
the mound to help the mechanics
like
along the
like
way.
not telling him anymore. Like, it's not helping him to tell any. Like, there's nothing you can tell him anymore. He wants to command it, he can't. So now you start playing around with different things. Oh, does he
Right.
have a cutter? Maybe a cutter or sinker instead. We talked about that. Or let's move him on the mound. So you have to be pretty excited by the walk rate this spring. Does he have one walk in the spring?
0. 18 strikeouts, 0 walks in 12 innings. I watched 2 of these games, and it still felt so chaotic.
Yeah.
Like in one of them, he threw sliders to right-handers. I think it was like 10 of them or something. I think 9 of them were on the inside corner to righties.
That's
right?
interesting.
And it makes sense if he's moving over, like he can't quite get to the extension side, right? But I don't know. I feel like this is one of those.
Still on edge.
Cool. Yeah, look, Adam in a 12-teamer, by all means, like, go and chase it. I'm not saying no. I'm just telling you that my internal anxiety.
But you might like Roop over Birdsong?
If they both are starting, I might. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know right now, but I want to say that I find it more
polished.
believable that Rupp is more consistent.
So, yeah, and Stuff Plus says Birdsong, but there's something about Rupp that I liked.
Yeah, I get it. The other thing I really wanted to mention, man, you were talking about Traject against himself, and like all I can think about, there's literally no video of me pitching.
Oh.
And no, it's just I would have given anything to be able to face myself back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, to understand what my curveball does and like how it actually is, right? Or what this 2-seamer looks like, how I'm revealing the ball when I do this versus doing this. What does it actually look
like? It's like a completely different perspective than you have. You see the ball go that way,
right?
To stand in against yourself would probably be really illuminating.
And I did hit, so like I understand the effect, and what worked against me and everything. And like, oh gosh,
that would have made you a much better pitcher, right?
Not without a doubt.
Yeah.
Money, guys, that's the answer to everything. You want to be better? Money.
Yeah, Traject is expensive.
Yeah, money.
It's like 500,000 or something.
Oh, that's it. Easy. No money. No problem. Yeah. Money. All right, we're gonna get to some more bold predictions, and including one where I kind of go against one of the guys I've rooted for a long time.
I have one that has like a 1% chance of happening, so I do get bold enough. My last one is bold with a capital B.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Eno getting in right before the ad break. Talk about this after this break. Someone in the comments here, I just want to say, Jump Shoot came here to watch Eno throw an ad to Nick without telling Nick.
Right after Nick had just thrown it to an ad.
Oh,
what happened last time? I threw an ad, and you're like, I just threw it to ad.
I just did it like 5 minutes ago, All right, we're back from our ad break. After, we did it. We got there. You're here, which is awesome. And you're sticking around, which means if you haven't rated and reviewed this podcast on Apple iTunes, it goes so far for us. Tell us what you think about this show. And we thank you so much for sticking around. We've got some fun bold predictions left. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think, okay, that Walker Buehler is going to have a better ERA and WHIP than Aaron Nola this season.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know that sounds crazy.
I want to read you a line real quick. This
is
Walker Buehler's projected ERA by Oopsie, which includes his Stuff Plus.
Yep.
4.73.
Can't wait. Now, this is based on last year, I assume, or is it also?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can't. Yeah. It's like
that's it.
We could throw some spring in, but like I told you, like the correlation between spring stuff and it's really
completely
dicey.
So,
but he's a different pitcher now.
Does that include also location as well?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good. Because I'm with you. Like I'm sure our PLV projections aren't favorable either. Mm-hmm. And when I see Walker Buehler pitch, when I sit down and watch this guy, I see a kitchen sink that we talk about that I like. It's a great team context. In the spring, they did exactly what they should be doing with Walker Buehler, which we thought they might be doing with him, which is saying, stop throwing fastballs so much. 30% four seamers and sinkers, and leaning on a 90+ mile per hour cutter with a curve in there, a sweeper now as well. And when I think about Walker Buehler, I don't think about a chaotic pitcher. I think about a pitcher without a plan last year when I watched him.
Yeah,
It was
he didn't know who he was.
well, and what's the funniest part, is that the Dodgers I was talking to someone at the winter meetings about this. I apparently the word is that the Dodgers were trying to tell them, they're trying to be like, Walker, buddy, like you don't have the four seamer you had before. The sticky stuff was just that we get it. It's not, you can't do that anymore. What we want you to do is X, Y, and Z. And he goes, nah, I got it. And like he was lost because he wasn't listening. He wasn't actually following anything. He didn't have a plan, and he didn't look like he had a plan. It was pretty obvious. So now we goes to the Red Sox, and they have a plan for him clearly. And
it's a lot more sinker sweeper to righties.
It's right. It's a lot more of utilizing the entirety of his arsenal. And I think that in there is your command pitcher who should have better stuff than your typical Toby. Yeah. So I'm not saying that he's going to be this 3 ERA, 105 whip guy, but like a 3.7 with a 115 and is very possible here, I think, for Walker Buehler. And on the other side, you have Aaron Nola, whose curveball has gotten worse. It's no longer that 38%, 40% CSW darling. It's now down like 32, 33. It's not you just can't bowl over batters with this pitch as much as he used to. The fastball and the sinker, he's tried to change its locations, which I dig, but it's because the fastball's just getting a little bit worse overall. And the changeup has never really clicked for Aaron Nola. At least he hasn't for like 3 years. So I see a pitcher who is getting older and likely on the decline. He had a 120 whip last year, keep in mind, Aaron Nola. And the only difference between 2023 Aaron Nola and 2024, for the most part, was just that the left on base rate was like 67% in 2023. Like I went through all of this stuff and I was like, well, that's just the one number that sticks out as the difference. And that was like the 4+ ERA. So, I mean, yes, and it also includes like home runs a little bit too, but for the most part, it's just that left on base rate. And yeah, it seems like we're evening the scales a little bit here to where Aaron Nola and Walker Buehler, I don't think will look too different in the ERA and whip column, assuming both go at least 140 innings, right? Nola's going to go more innings. In all likelihood, he should have more strikeouts still. But ERA and whip, I think Walker Buehler is going to have a better one than Aaron Nola. That's my bold prediction.
It's pretty good. It's pretty bold. There's a reason it's bold. Spring training stuff plus numbers. Walker Buehler 63, Aaron Nola 126. Oh
God.
Spring training stuff. Let me tell you something really quickly about spring training data. It's rough out there.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Are you using it from every start? You can't, right?
Well, yes, we are. It has holes. We were looking at it and we thought this might be true. I'm not sure it's 100% true, but from what we looked, there's no pitch that happens that has every single data point that you normally get from Hawkeye.
None.
Yeah, and some are missing this, and some are missing that, and some are missing this, and half of them are missing pitch type, and I don't know, because they don't broadcast these the same way, and MLBM Statcast major partner is broadcasts. This is a media situation that teams have their own numbers. They don't care. They can watch it. They've got everything they need. So to some extent, they're never going to clean that up. They don't. There's not really a reason for them to clean it up. Spring training stats. They're not going to have a Statcast. They're not going to have a Statcast. Like ESPN Statcast spring training game.
You know what? No, but maybe there'll be a pitcherless one eventually. Okay.
That's right. I love this. I love that streaming thing that you're doing. It's a great idea.
I mean, obviously I'm going to find a way to twist your arm and get you on. Of course, whenever you're watching baseball at home, just like, oh, pitchers must have this on. I'll just jump.
We do have some fun news, is that because arm angle is not in every one of these, we're working on a model to predict arm angle.
Oh, that's nice.
And we did. Matt Denowitz is on the ones and twos and doing a little bit more modeling now. He used to be kind of our engineer. He's got an R squared north of zero point 0.8 now, predicting arm angle, which will allow us to do low minor league stuff plus as well.
Oh man,
Not only AAA, because you don't have arm angle down there at all. So we had to do something because arm angle was important to our data.
Right, right.
So now we have to predict. It's going to create noise, of course, because you're predicting arm angle instead of using it. But that's a pretty good R squared. We're getting closer to having a solution for that. And so
definitely, that's awesome.
Miners.
Love to hear it. All right,
Okay.
Give us. Here we go. Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go. The dumbest thing you've ever heard on the radio. The White Sox are going to have an above average rotation.
I thought you were about to say you're going to win the AL. Like, above average winning percentage. Oh, above average rotation. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see this. Right. Like,
It's
tell
so
us
bold.
about it.
Fangraphs has them as the second to worst rotation baseball. Everyone can guess. Oh, actually, it's not the Rockies. It's the A's that have the worst rotation according to Fangraphs.
Who?
It goes Rockies, White Sox, A's at the bottom.
A's?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it's because they didn't put Mitch Spence into it. That's why.
Yeah, that's why.
My God.
So at least my boldness bona fides are back on the table. But there's just something I like about a lot of these guys. Sean Burke has a great fastball, great extension, and he's a pronator. So I think the changeup is good. Like, would you be interested in a high velo Tobias Myers?
Wait, he's a pronator?
Yeah.
Yeah, he throws a good slider and curve.
He doesn't throw good. He doesn't throw. No, that's supinator.
Well, I know, which is why I'm like, wow, he's a burner.
But the slider and curve are only okay. But I think he'll throw them hard. He throws hard overall.
He throws them well in a good spot too. He gets them down and throws them for strikes, and he's able to get above average whiff rates on those, which is
and he could throw the changeup a little bit more. Cannon is like a sinker sweeper guy who I don't think has the King, Clark Schmidt package to make it anything better than that. But let's say he just holds his own against righties and then walks lefties. That's been something he's done in the past, or gives up the occasional homer. Martin Perez is he's an older Toby, but he's like, you look back on Martin Perez's career and it wasn't that long ago that he was good.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a 2.89 ERA in 2022.
Yeah.
And even if he's a low fours guy or something, this could happen for me. Davis Martin throws the kick change, and he's got great breaking balls. I think that the projection systems are missing low on him a little bit. And then there's some faith casting going on for the fifth spot. I mean, Drew Thorpe could maybe get it together. Nick Nastrini could maybe figure out where the strike zone was. Bryce Wilson is sort of a credible veteran guy. If they want Noah Schultz to come up, that would be exciting. And then my personal fifth starter is Shane Smith.
Yes, he is his fifth starter. I was waiting for you. I was saying, no. Shane Smith is exciting. He throws hard.
He throws really hard, and he had a 35% strikeout rate in spring.
Yeah,
I'm a little agnostic about the secondary stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a fastball, and that's why they got him, because they got him in the Rule 5.
Well, he wasn't throwing this hard. So we in AAA data from last year, it's only like 94, and like the Rule 5 happened, and he shows him he was hitting 98 and sitting 90. I'm like, what? Like, they just cashed gold on this. He was the number 1 overall pick in the Rule 5 draft from the Brewers. And they knew what they wanted. He is the fifth
even
starter.
in the minor leagues with the Brewers, in Double-A, he had a 30% strikeout rate. In Triple-A, it was a really small sample, but 25. Like, he's had good strikeout rates in the minors. I don't know why the Brewers let him go.
No idea. Maybe it was because the secondary stuff wasn't there, and they're like, we like well-rounded.
Yeah,
we want Aaron Savali.
Good teams sometimes have roster crunches on the sides.
Yeah.
So, like I just described to you, that doesn't sound like the worst rotation in baseball. Maybe I'm just, I could talk myself into anything. I could talk myself into Bido and Spence.
Stop. Now, hold on a second. It's not saying the worst rotation in baseball. What you're saying is that this is a
above
15th or
average.
better,
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
So that means there are 15 other rotations that no. And you know what? Maybe.
I'm probably wrong.
I mean,
I
yeah,
think
but
that has
I
like a
like what you're
5%
doing.
chance of happening.
This
And I
is
just wanted to
something,
highlight some guys, and
you're highlighting something that I think is important for us to mention here is we share the same passion of guys who we expect nothing from
hmm
doing their very best to be of some relevance,
yeah.
right? Like the most happy things for us is not is not our SP25 becoming SP1. The happy thing for us is our SP140 becoming SP50,
Yeah, it really is.
right? Like, I mean, it really that is the thing for me that I get so much enjoyment
Like
out of. Like
Seth
last
Lugo
year,
was the big juice for me last year. I mean, I
last
guess he
year,
ended up
yeah.
being like 12th or something, but
But like Albert Suarez showed up in spring last year.
uh-huh.
And out of nowhere, it was so funny. The Orioles need an extra starter. And then, like, we've not heard anything about this guy, Albert Suarez. He shows up and he's throwing 96 at the top of the zone with these fastballs. And I'm freaking out on Twitter. I was like, stop, Nick. Like, whatever. I'm like, maybe he actually is something. And he was. He was a streamer for you guys. Like, he actually was a fantasy relevant starter for periods of time last year. And that was so exciting. That was so much more fun than, I don't know. Tobias Myers being something. That was cool. But
Yeah.
like that to us is important, and I know that it can get difficult to discern like who are the ones that we're just hoping to be like not really that pick upable in fantasy, but just are actually surviving.
Yeah, that's sort
right?
of my Shane Smith, Davis Martin
Yeah,
grouping. It's like I don't know these. They're not 10 and 12 team pitchers
right.
probably, but
Like
I'm still excited to see what they do this year. I mean,
there's a
Schomburg, Davis
reason.
Martin, and Shane Smith
Yeah,
is actually, I think, just objectively more interesting than you'd expect when you look at the worst. Like, there's no Rockies that I like, and even the
Chase
Athletics.
Delander.
Yeah, maybe, but the Athletics,
That's it.
we've just pretty much talked about the two guys that I like, just Spence and Bideau.
Yeah,
So the White Sox have three. I don't know.
yeah.
Even if I think I should get partial credit if they get into the top 20 even.
I'll give it to you. We'll have one in retrospect. Be
It just
like,
didn't
so let's
seem
talk
as
about
though.
them White Sox, huh?
Yeah.
But I really want to lean in there on I can see exactly how it goes right for each of them. There's a
Mhm.
reason why every single pitcher is a major leaguer, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget that there is a world where they pitch a perfect game. Okay, it's why Humber pitched his. Okay,
Mhm.
like it's just you
But
can
it's
have a
also
day
why
where
I
it's
prefer
moving right,
guys that
you're spotting it well.
yeah, it's also why I prefer guys who have been in the major leagues to prospects because first of all we have data on them, but then secondly what you're talking about, like they've done it in little bits before. They've had 3 good innings. They've had a
Right.
5-inning start that was good. They've done something, and I think it's a little bit easier for somebody who's done something to kind of put it together than somebody who's just coming up. And I think if you're not Paul Skeens, you just get hit in the face by the major leagues. You're just like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. And that's why, there's 2 things about that. One is I like young pitchers the most after they've gone through their adversity.
Yeah.
And 2, it's why I have a thing called the shag rug, the young man's floor. Every prospect has a much innately lower floor than major leaguers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So just be careful of the shag rug with all of this. But
some people are
yeah.
using my Spring Training Stuff Plus, and they've noticed that our spread is really big. Like it goes down to like 20, and it goes up to 180, and that's how Stuff Plus has been. And there's 2 reasons for that, 3 maybe. One is we're forcing 100 to be equal to average for Stuff Plus, right? 2 is it's small samples, and some of them are airing it out in 2-inning starts, so everyone's a little bit more reliever-ish. And then the 3 is we've used 1,012 pitchers in spring training.
Does that include Gallo?
390 roster spots.
No Gallo though, right?
No, but there are much worse pitchers pitching in spring training.
Oh yeah,
then that's the floor you're talking about.
And then the average is over there now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And every prospect has a lower floor. Like if you have 1,012 and only 390 roster spots, that means that like 2/3 of the pitchers who pitch in spring training are worse than
Right.
major league pitchers.
Yeah, the even the 100 stuff plus is the 610 or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So 5. Oh man, so that's a fun one. I enjoy it. I think Shane Smith is a good one to watch there. Not Bryce Wilson, but Nick Nastrini. If you can just throw fastballs for strikes, please. The slider's good enough to be dancing with the disco and everything. Just throw them all over strikes.
Try every position on the rubber. Just move an inch over and throw 5 pitches and move an inch over.
Please. And obviously we're all really excited by Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith when they arrive as well. And my gosh, Grant Taylor. I didn't know, I didn't know. I remember writing my report on him and saying, all right, like Grant Taylor, fine. You had a lot of injuries, so we don't really know much about you, but there's a high pedigree. Sure. I watched them pitch and it was just, it's the dumbest.
Oh my God. Look at those.
It's like Glasnow with a better fastball.
Heck? Wow.
It's
60 fastball, 60 slider, 45, 60 change.
No, wrong. It's like
70 fastball.
Yeah, this guy is throwing 100 with extension of like Tyler Glasnow.
Wow.
He's Tyler Glasnow at like upper 90s with a better attack angle and vert.
Wow.
And it's like here, and then it's a straight line down. So then he has this cutter that he threw for an 80% strike rate, 92. That guy's just like, what? And then it's the same kind of Glasnow curve where it's just, that's coming. There's no way. It's a death ball. Like he's throwing at such a low angle. Those death balls we talk about with curves.
He saw this spring so far.
it's nuts. I mean, what happened is I'm doing my daily roundup. If you guys know, you must know that I do the SB roundup. I review every single starting pitcher or pitcher that was relevant from the days of spring training. And I saw 2 innings, 6 strikeouts. I went, okay, who is this one?
What's going on here?
And I watched it. I put out a video, I think, somewhere of just me reacting to this and just being like, this is the dumbest pitcher I've ever seen. Thing is, of course, like, can he throw enough strikes? I think in that one he threw 80% strikes on both the curve and the cutter, and then like 50% on the fastball. Or no, it was 2 for 9 on the fastball. But that's the thing, though. It's just he is dumb. And it's like Carter Capps pitching almost,
We need I've been watching basketball some, and we need he's a bucket for pitchers. Like he's a strikeout or something. I'm workshopping it. We need to get the
he's a bucket, as in like putting guys into buckets, or like
no, he's a bucket in basketball means like he can get a bucket anytime he wants. He's like
right, duh.
Like he can score anytime he wants. So like
right.
He's a strikeout, like he's a K or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh man,
over so well.
Just to get anyone who has not watched any Grant Taylor highlights, just watch Grant Taylor.
I'm going to.
It's dumb. It's dumb. So there's that. He might be a reliever. He's not really pitched many innings.
Second round pick.
And I mean, how do you feel about this? I know this is like we're going over time, but I need to ask this. Do you think that teams should be more aggressive promoting their pitchers?
I do. I also think they should throw more because they're not ready for the big leagues.
Yeah.
And when I say throw more, I mean throw more, not pitch more. They will eventually pitch more, but you have to throw more to build up the ability to pitch more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should be throwing more. I don't think they should be in AAA averaging 45 pitches per appearance or per start or whatever.
Absolutely.
Expect them to go to the major leagues and start. So I would have a slightly different plan than a lot of teams. But I have also heard Major League Farm directors tell me, if this guy has Major League pitch grades in the minor leagues, why is he in the minor leagues?
Right.
And so I think, and then there's a need at the major league level with so many injuries. I think we're going to see pretty aggressive movement patterns for pitchers through the minor leagues.
Well, that's the case.
Hitters, like you'll see hitters that, as soon as they, like we're talking maybe about Cam Smith making the Astros, dude is like 20 at bats and above AA. So.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is, we talk about how pitching is attrition. You're spending all these bullets, and it's just like, this guy's here. Just let him. Grant Taylor would be like one of the best relievers in baseball. Like, I know that maybe he needs to figure out the zone a little bit more.
And also the White Sox aren't good. So like, but if you were the Dodgers, you'd want Grant Taylor up pretty quick.
Right. And like, and also, I mean, sure, they're not competitive, but don't you want Grant Taylor to be better next year? I would think that him failing in the majors is better than failing in the minors.
And don't you want to be good as a team sometime in the next 6 years?
Right. And then, then if Grant Taylor, then great. I think there needs to be a bigger understanding of what tanking is, where if I'm tanking, then I need to accept failure. And that means I need to accept guys and invest in their development for failure. Don't just put out a team that is for the sake of teaming
minor leagues, where you're like, now you go to the major leagues and you're still working on your development,
Yeah. Just let them fail, and actually invest for the future in that way.
It's also
something I think about
because you need to know, even if you're a tanking team, you need to know which of these players is going to be part of your next core at some point. You can't just be like, oh, well, they're all ready, and then,
exactly.
So you kind of have to cycle through some guys and I would.
Yep.
I don't know that I'd put Grant Taylor in major leagues this year right away, but if he's staying healthy, I would definitely give him some nibbles.
Oh, he's just so good. All right, before we leave, we got to have one Cy Young take, and I'll start here. Robbie Ray's going to win the NL Cy Young.
Nice. I like it. I mean, he's got a good home park. He's got gams. He's got quads.
He's going to go volume. He's going to have the volume. They're not going to everyone's like, oh, he had
grunting out there.
Yeah. Oh gosh, grunts. You're talking about the Oscars. You need the Academy to prove. It's but you hear him grunting.
Yeah,
he's putting in the effort.
Right up there on effort plus and grunt plus.
Yeah. And then the changeup that he learned from Scooble, I think, from what I've seen, I still haven't gotten data on it, and it drives me up the wall. But I have to think that it's just going to help him more to stave off home runs, which is the biggest problem for Robbie Ray. And especially right-handers doing that, because the slider can't always be that amazing pitch as a strike pitch off of the fastball. So a changeup with that makes all of the sense, and just a decent one would work wonders for him. So I think Robbie Ray is going to blow everybody away and win the NL Cy Young.
I like it.
Do you have one? Any Cy Young pick? Any dark horse? AL, NL? Is it Cade Povich?
Grayson Rodriguez? No. Bryce Miller, why not?
Let's go with that one. He's gonna be good on the road.
He's I would say Logan Gilbert, but he's like my fourth starting pitcher, so that's not that bold.
Yeah,
Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert are fast friends that both think about the game pretty analytically.
That's a bold prediction.
And learn a lot from each other. And so Bryce Miller is really honing in on the cutter this year. And I think cutter, four seam, slurve, splitter could be his best arsenal.
I hope so. I really hope so.
He's been great. What are you talking about? You're talking about he's nobody. He's great.
Bryce Miller? I'm like, no, I'm hoping that the cutter becomes this reliable pitch for him.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Because I'm with you that Bryce Miller's four seamer is just the bread and butter. And it's just about just give me something.
And the splitter was pretty good last year, but the splitter doesn't help you, like you point out a lot. The splitter doesn't help you if you're 2-0 or whatever.
Right. He needs another old reliable.
Yeah.
When he needs extra ammunition that you can always turn to. But yeah, I like that pick with Bryce Miller being the Cy Young. And watch, it's gonna be Miller and Ray. The problem though is that it's going to be Bobby Miller. Oh gosh.
Well, at least with Osvaldo Bido, I'm spending 25th round picks instead of whatever it was. Bobby Miller is going 6 or 7.
I had him 13. I was so in on the Bobby Miller train.
Oh my God, yeah.
I was saying he was going to get the most innings of any Dodger pitcher last year.
Well, yeah, we said that just last year. Well, you know what? Those were bold predictions. We didn't label them as such. You just didn't know.
Yeah, there it is. Dustin May gets the most innings of any Dodgers pitcher this year.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
There you go. Because they're just going to throw him out there and be like, good, cool. We don't need you for the playoffs.
And you're a free agent to be. So you're someone else's problem.
There you go. I like this in the chat. Bobby Miller pitches better than Roki Sasaki.
Yeah. Just go. Thanks. Thanks, Mark Pryor.
Oh my God.
I'll just go do that.
I see Knob in the chat says Bobby Miller pitches better than Roki Sasaki this year.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Spicy.
That is I like that
The
a
little
lot.
0.5% are in there.
Are we gonna have also like a reverse, like another Pepio situation that the Dodgers deal away Bobby Miller, and then all of a sudden he has his moment
somewhere else?
Yeah, maybe that's
I
like
can
the
see that.
trade they make at the deadline to push them over.
I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know what Bobby needs, man. I think just a reset. I think
right.
health is a question. I think, one thing we don't know is even when they are healthy, quote unquote, is often they're dealing with stuff, and you know, some players even just have a higher threshold for internal pain and don't want to report it, or want to make the major leagues and then maybe report it and get on the major league IL. I mean, there's a lot of these weird
Yeah, right.
things going on where I don't know if we know the entire story that's going on.
Yeah, of course. All right, we got to wrap this up. We got to go.
Run.
Thank you so much. You're so generous with your time. And good luck with your 9-mile run. I know it's gonna be great. I don't know if it's 9 miles.
So much fun.
But that's gonna do it for this episode of The Craft. We've got opening day next week. It's gonna be great. Check out all the stuff that Eno's putting out on The Athletic, of course.
Yeah, if you're in San Francisco, come to Bear Bottle. We're doing the live shows on 27th, 28th. Trevor May will be there. We'll have Ben Clemens from Fangraphs. We'll have other guests. We have trivia. We'll have merch. We got merch.
That's awesome.
We got a new logo. That's gonna be fun.
How dare you not come to Brooklyn this year?
I know. I really wanted to, but this was the opportunity we had, and I'm as excited because I got to brew a beer, and there's a video out there of me, just cackling like a
Oh, is it really? Oh God,
a little child putting hops in the boil.
Well, I've been spoiled the last 2 years hanging out with Eno, but I'll be able to hang out with him on playback.tv/pitcherlist on opening day, where you can watch the MLB live games synced up with our entire community. It is amazing. So we'll see you guys there for opening day. But that is it for today. On behalf of Eno Sarris, our wonderful guest, my name is Nick Pollack. We'll talk about the craft of pitching again next week. Goodbye, everyone.